Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, and we're from Group 1, and now we're going to present our final discussions about text-based language teaching. And there's three members of us, that is Tririsda Nurlailia with a student number 174, and my name is Fildadina Nugroho with a student number 2000s. And lastly, Siti Khalila Ilfa Aribia with a student number 1094.
And the first is introductions. Text-based language teaching or TBLT is an approach that uses text meaningful activities with real outcomes as the central part of language learning. Instead of focusing on grammar explanations, TBLT emphasizes using language to accomplish real communicative goals. Learners learn by doing. They complete tasks such as problem solving, discussions, or projects that mirror real life communications. The teacher's role is to design, guide, and reflect on these tasks, helping students learn language naturally through meaningful use. And for the next is experience. In a beginning level English class in Japan, students work in groups to plan a class trip. They decide on a destinations, transportations, activities, and budget, then present their plans to the class. The teacher gives clear instructions, provides useful vocabulary, and supports students as they discuss mainly in English. Each group presents their trip plan and the class votes for the best one. The Kyoto trip wins, and the teacher announces that next time they will write a letter to a travel agency.
I want to explain about goals of TBLT. The first goals of TBLT is develop students' communicative competence. Second is promote learner autonomy and responsibility. Third is shift focus from accuracy to fluency and meaning. Number four is integrate language skills holistically. Number five, encourage natural language use and interaction. Next is enable learners to use language meaningfully and purposefully. And the last is link classroom learning to real world use. Okay, for the next, I want to explain about principles of TBLT. First is meaning is primary. Learners focus on conveying and understanding meaning, not just practicing forms. Number two, tasks are the central unit of teaching and learning. This means that language is taught through tasks that reflect real world use, not through isolated drills. Number three is learners learn by doing. It means that engaging in communicative tasks helps students acquire language naturally and purposefully. Number four, authentic language use is essential. Materials and activities mirror real life situations, making learning more relevant. Number five, interaction promotes language development. Learners improve through negotiation of meaning and collaboration with peers. Number six is focus on form occurs after meaning. Grammar and accuracy are discussed after communication when learners reflect on their performance. Number seven is learner-centered instruction. Students take an active role. This means that the teacher acts, acts as a facilitator, not a lecturer. Number eight is outcome-based evaluation. Success is measured by task completion and communicative effectiveness, not just grammatical correctness. Number 8 is integration of skills. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing are used together during task completion. And the last is reflection and feedback. Learners analyze the language they used, notice gaps, and receive feedback to improve.
And for the next one is I'm going to explain about techniques of basic language teaching in here, which is we have four techniques of basic language teaching in here. And I'm going to start it from the first one with opinion gap technique. So what is opinion gap technique is opinion gap text is where the student shares their ideas or preference, like for example, is like discussing which place is the best for their trips. And the second is about reasoning gap stack technique. So, what is reasoning gap technique is where the student use information they already has to make decisions or solve problems. Like for the example is such as planning a trip or finding solutions together. And thirdly, we have information gap technique. Information gap techniques is like where the student have different information or must communicate to complete the activity. And for the example is like the student filling in a schedule by asking some question. And lastly, about focus versus unfocused tasks here. And I'm going to explain about the focus tasks which is practice a specific language structure. And for the unfocused tasks in here is which allow free communication. Tasks can focus on input. It's like listening or reading, maybe output, and also speaking, and lastly with writings. And lastly, before we're going to wrap up about this text-based language teaching, I'm going to explain about the conclusion, which is text-based language teaching is about learning by using the language in real situations. So it makes learning more meaningful, fun, and practical, and also the student takes an active role while the teacher guides them through the tasks. And by focusing on communication first, so the student naturally build their language skill in a more effective way. So that's all from Group 1. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.